Hi, welcome to
Breezing with Bierman with
Adam Bierman. Well, it's Breezy with Bierman. Oh, you get closer, my brother. Look at your face is going. I don't know why.
I screwed up the intro.
Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just keep going.
This is Wicked Politics. I'm Bob Carson.
I'm Adam Bierman, and this is going to be our eighth show. We're doing it in my living room in my kitchen in Princeton, New Jersey. Maybe get a little closer, Bob. Like that glariness. No, you move this closer.
Amateur hour. Okay.
Yeah. Why are they doing that? Anyway, if you can deal with us looking like that, that's fine with me. We have to just go on anyway. Okay, Bob, we haven't met for a while. What's happened to you? I think this impacts. It's a very good subject because it's happening to a lot of people, and share it with us. What happened to you and why we haven't been together in like 3 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I don't know, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I noticed a lump on my testicle. I initially thought it was from boxing. I do boxing. Sometimes I do competitive amateur boxing. And so I didn't worry about it right away, but it was clear that it wasn't going down. I went to a urgent care physician. She gave me some Zyproxen, which is an anti-inflammatory medication. And she told me to take it. And if it doesn't go down, go see a urologist. She made an appointment, ultrasound. She made an appointment for an ultrasound. I went for an ultrasound the next day, and they said it was a suspicious mass, very concerning. Go see a urologist. Saw a urologist. This is all in rapid time, very, very fast. I don't screw around with my health. He diagnosed me with testicular cancer. My sister was there. My sister was very, very upset. And he said, "You got to get that out ASAP." So that was on, I don't want to say June 16th. By June 22nd, I was scheduled for what is called an orchiectomy. That's where they remove the testicle. From that point on, I have anxiety and so on and so forth. You can imagine what I was going through. You can imagine what I was going through before when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I got the.
What do you think about everything?
God, yeah,
life,
yeah.
Childhood, people, friends.
My mortality, family, all that stuff, every single disease, everything. I ran through the gamut. My mind is a cruel place, and my mind can make a heaven a hell or a hell a heaven. And that's what happened. And the surgery went well. I'll back up. The surgery went pretty well. I wasn't, the first day I was able to walk. The second day I was able to walk a little bit more. But when I tried to use my abs, when I tried to sit up from a laying position, it was excruciating. Other than that, by Sunday, I had the surgery on Thursday. By Sunday, I was out and about. I was working again. And then about a week and a half, I was running again and doing, light physical activity.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Now,
after they went for your crown jewels and everything, the whole thing, I find my hands slowly going to my groin area just hearing about it.
That's not uncommon. We'll talk about that. But just light stuff, up to 10 pounds. And I'm about 3 weeks. Today is 3 weeks from the surgery. I'm almost completely healed from the surgery. About 80%, 90%. I'm doing fine. I have very little pain in that area. So the orchiectomy, the surgery went for because I didn't know. I never had surgery before. This is the first surgery for me. So I got the surgery. My body adjusted well to it. And then the main thing is knowing the scope of this. You had cancer. Okay, they removed the cancer, but did it spread? Testicular cancer is comprised of two cells, non-seminoma and seminoma. The non-seminoma cells is comprised of 5 separate cells within the non-seminoma category. And I had non-seminoma, and that's the more aggressive testicular cancer form than seminoma. Okay. So I didn't know the scope of this. My sister thought that maybe it spread. The doctor.
She's a nurse.
Yeah. She's a nurse, and she's a great person, selfless person, but she could be a little bit of a catastrophizer because she herself went through cancer.
Oh, yeah.
She had a brain tumor. So she got me scared AF. She said she talked to the doctor. He said he doesn't know, may not have, but it may have spread to the lymph.
Did they give you Valium during this period or anything?
Dude, you should see what they gave me. You could find out what they gave you on the report, in the hospital report. They gave me, one of the things they gave me to put me under for the anesthesia was fentanyl.
Oh, right.
Fentanyl comprised was like 8 other things. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't realize that, man. Because I was out 30 seconds. I was in the operating room. I was out. I don't even remember.
They don't want you to move it around. They don't want you in pain and everything.
Yeah.
They don't want any oops when they're cutting around there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, and Adam, all I remember is the anesthesiologist saying hello, and then I was gone. That was it. So they thought maybe testicular cancer's main route of spread is the lymph nodes to the lungs, to the chest, and then it goes upwards from there. It's pretty scary. And so I finally, about a week after I got the pathology report, I get it back before your doctor. My doctor, you get all these results before your doctor does. And so I'm on Route 18. I'm stuck. I'm out of gas. I'm a moron. I ran out of gas. I'm stuck right on Route 18. His car's whizzing by me at 70 miles an hour. I'm reading my pathology report, and it was better than I expected. It was low stage 1, stage 1B. Okay. And from there, I had to go to a CAT scan. Now, let me tell you, the insurance companies, we're going to talk about this. The insurance companies take 14 days, a minimum of 14 business days before they will approve a CAT scan. Mm-hmm. Now, can you imagine what it's like? You have cancer in your body. You want to know if it's spread, right? And they're going to make you wait 14 days. I said, you know what? I'm not waiting 14 days. I want to find out now because I have a follow-up appointment with my doctor. And if I have to go for additional treatment, I need to know exactly what the hell's in my body. I ended up having to pay out of pocket because I didn't want to wait for the insurance company to kick in. It was a pretty penny. I'm poor, so to speak. So it was a pretty penny. But we did the CAT scan. It was the most nerve-wracking day of my life. I was so afraid.
You go on that tube thing?
Yeah, and they pump it with an IV, and they give you radiation too. It's all CAT scan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why it's not something that you want to do as you want.
Oh, it's cumulative, all that radiation.
Absolutely.
And everything. They went Chernobyl with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and thankfully they said it could be up to 15 minutes, but my CAT scan was like less than 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, maybe that's good. And thankfully the CAT scan came back negative. They did everything that there wasn't any sign of a cancer. And then I visited with my oncologist as a follow-up, and here's the 3 scenarios. Physicians go by a guideline, particularly urologists and oncologists of cancer, like a guideline on how to treat cancer, okay? And I knew this going in. I knew exactly what he was going to recommend. He recommended 1 cycle of chemo. Okay, that was one of my options, 15-day cycle of chemo, to make sure it doesn't come back. Like I said, right now I'm cancer-free. I don't have any cancer in my body. I'm in remission. So he wanted me to do chemo, okay, for it down the line coming back, okay? Then the other option was an RPMD where they remove your lymph nodes, okay, so that then it can't.
Where your lymph node all over?
Yeah, like right along your aorta, your chest, your sides area, okay, and that's that would cure it too if it were to come back. That would ensure it wouldn't come back. The third option was surveillance, where they look at you every 3 or 4 months. They take blood work, they take CT scans. I chose the surveillance because I don't want to put chemo in my body if I don't have to.
Right.
I don't want to subject myself to the secondary risks, to secondary cancers, to pulmonary disease, all this stuff that,
all these little morbidities can go with all that stuff.
Absolutely. Somewhere down the line, if I don't have to do chemo, I won't.
Did he give a recommendation or just left it to you?
No, he said that's reasonable. He was neutral, and he recommended that their guidelines recommend, you know all this.
Exactly.
Right. But my staging was I was eligible for surveillance, and he told me that there's a 10% chance my tumor could come back. Okay. Now, I consulted resources that said there was a 50%. So between a 10 and 50% chance it's going to come back.
My testosterone and everything else would go down even lower. That's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. So
10 to 50.
I thought 10 to 15, but even 50. Yeah, you're right. But even if there was a 50% chance, I'm doing surveillance anyway because there's a 50% chance I'm cured. There's a big problem with overtreating cancer patients. If this doctor is saying that there's a 10% chance it's going to recur, he's essentially saying that my cancer was cured when he removed the testicle. 90% chance I'm cured. So why am I going to do chemo for something that may happen? Why am I going to pump my body full of chemicals for something that hasn't happened yet? It hasn't happened. It may, right. But especially now that there's a 90% chance that I'm cured. What do you're going to over?
But I'm confused because some people, who said 50? With some website? What?
No, Dr. Clint Gary of Indiana, and he was on a panel discussion. I trust him immensely. I try to make an appointment with him. He's in Indiana. Indiana is the cutting edge of testicular cancer. one of their doctors developed a chemo to treat clinical cancer, testicular cancer. And what I've been doing since my diagnosis is steeping myself in research, trying to research as much as I can about testicular cancer to know exactly what I have.
Is that good or bad though? You get too much information, very.
I found it good because
Was it consistent though? Like
Yeah,
Wikipedia is not always consistent. So
no. I listen to Spotify, and there's a podcast that calls It Takes Balls. It talks about survivors. And I wanted to know what I was in for. I wanted to know what other people's experience. Every patient's different. Some patients have.
How common is this among?
Very rare. Testicular cancer only affects 10,000 men a year.
Oh,
it is
that's
extremely
good to
rare.
know.
Yeah, only 400 people die from it, and it affects people from 15 mainly to 45, although it can occur in children and it can occur in men in 50s, and it's primarily a white person's disease.
Weird.
For some reason.
I mean, yeah, genetics are weird.
It is, and there's no cause for it. Some people think it's a descended testicle. My cancer cells were embryonic. They were from birth. Embryonic carcinoma and yolk sac.
Oh, they can tell all that now.
Yeah, the pathology report.
Did they do a genome on you, or not a genome, like a genetic, to see if you're more prone to cancer? Like,
no, but they can.
Yeah, they can. Right,
They can.
So,
Absolutely.
so was it masturbation, like they say in the old days?
Hey, listen, man. You know what? I don't know, but it was rare. It's rare. I was. You know,
I didn't know it was that rare. I mean, that's that I followed it. Luckily.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's why as you get up the ladder, the cure rate is 95%. Okay, and some people put it as high as 99%. So there's no bad prognosis with testicular cancer unless it really spreads for years. That's when it becomes fatal. There really isn't any. But the problem is when you get stage 2 and you get more complicated, they call it the burden of treatment, where you have to do chemo and you have to do surgery, blah blah blah. You have to go regionally. You can't go to your local hospital because it's so rare that they don't do it. Sloan Kettering, Indiana, they don't do these type of surgeries at your local hospital.
Oh. You're lucky you're in New Jersey though, you're close to Philly and New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Camden, they have some good hospitals there too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Or do you feel less of a man though? No, but this testicle thing. So, but you could have babies if you wanted.
Yeah, like supposedly all your sperm comes from one testicle anyway. So yeah, they offer me a prosthetic testicle. I'm like, no, I don't want to take it.
You don't want to show the audience how it looks?
No. I don't. Although I am shaved down now. They shaved me down there, and I like the way it looks down there.
Oh, really? Did it itch when it comes back?
No. No. So far, I'm going to keep it.
Is it weird to see like that missing thing?
Not really. I've got the only thing is sometimes I feel phantom pain. Phantom pain.
I hear about that before. Right. Your brain is telling you
exactly. Like real phantom pain. I got an incision on my pelvic. It's not that bad. I mean, it's just a matter of doing my surveillance now and finding out if it comes back. Hopefully it doesn't come. If it does, it's still the same cure rate. I don't sacrifice my cure rate by doing the surveillance, but I'm trying to raise awareness. I'm working with an organization called Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation, and I got a boxing match coming up in September, and I'm getting support from gyms I train at, some people. I'm going to be on a podcast, an MMA podcast, another MMA podcast.
It's going to be recorded today.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be live actually, and then I'm going to be another podcast. So I got a lot of stuff coming up. It's my pledge was already retweeted by Mike Cernovich. He's a right-wing filmmaker. He's got 1.1 million Twitter followers. The MMA media has reported this already, and I think this is going to be a good start to raise awareness, raise funds for this very rare young person's disease, a young person's disease that not too many people are aware of, and unfortunately, if you don't get it checked, and you feel something in your stomach or your back, that's when it's spread, and that's when it becomes more complicated.
Who's this right-wing filmmaker though? What makes them right-wing?
He's like an Alex Jones type of Wilk. Yeah.
Alex Jones is crazy. I don't even lie. What he did with that, what happened in Connecticut was horrible.
And he's still on the air, is he not? Or
yeah,
not?
I think he has his own website. Well, I think we try not to pay the people in Connecticut, Newtown, Connecticut, and everything.
Yeah, right.
But anyway,
an OJ.
So, but he wants to actually hear about your testicular cancer, or are you going to say the government did it to you or something?
No. Like I'm not on his podcast. He just retweeted the guy.
He retweeted.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy that I'm on, it's called Fightbook MMA. His brother almost died of testicular cancer, and that's why he was kind of drawn to my story. So I'm going to be on that. I'm also going to be on the MMA Power Hour later on this week, if not next week, and some other shows too. A lot of shows, and you could go on my Twitter account or Facebook and find out how you can donate.
What's it under, Bob Carson?
Yeah, Bob Carson MMA, Twitter.com. Bob Carson MMA or Facebook, and you could see how you could donate to this. Do what you can, donate, share, whatever you can. It'd be greatly appreciated.
So anyway, you did all this stuff, and you wanted to get into the pain. I mean, dealing with this government, our health system's completely different since, say, Europe and everything. And you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I can say that the level of care that I received, the technology, the hospitals, the doctors, has been fantastic. It's went like clockwork. Where it's been very difficult, and I'll give you an example, is dealing with the insurance companies, dealing with the office staff. For example, after my orchiectomy, one of the people at my urologist office, one of the ladies that works in the office, said, "Okay, you're authorized. You're ready to go. You're ready to go for a CAT scan." I called the radiology place, and they said, "No, we don't take your insurance." So again, I'm a cancer patient. Okay, I was told that I could just go. If I didn't call and double check, I would have lost a lot of valuable time.
Yeah,
Okay,
only in this country, organized chaos.
Yeah, exactly. With cancer, you need, with any disease, but particularly testicular cancer, any cancer, you need to get the staging right. You need to understand how it's spread, where it is, right, as fast as it can. And as I said earlier, the insurance companies take typically 14 business days to schedule a CT scan. So I had to call and fight with my insurance company. I had to call and have them resend the script to another radiology place that took my insurance. And then it was such a hassle that I ended up paying out of pocket myself.
That's what they probably wanted. The insurance companies are evil. That's evil.
It is.
I mean, they create this barrier. Imagine if you were not really with it or depressed and you couldn't. I mean, people might quit. I could say you don't speak the language that well. I know that's whatever language. People could quit. It's awful. It's awful. You don't need that crap.
That's a whole other job, is battling with the insurance company. That's a whole separate job. My sister's been doing it for decades. And imagine if I didn't have insurance. Imagine how difficult that would be. I'm sure they would still have to treat you like, because there's charity care. Each hospital has a certain amount of charity care.
Yeah.
And there should be a law that if you have cancer, you have to get treatment. It's like when Reagan signed that law mandating that people visiting an emergency room have to get treatment. That's how cancer should be. If an uninsured person has cancer, you got to treat them. You can't,
Yeah, and it's preventive too, because if it goes too far and they treat, then it's more money, more time, more death, and everything.
Absolutely, it's all a money racket, and so for that end has been an absolute disaster. My particular insurance company's been good, but just dealing with that, approvals, all this crap. I was going to go to Sloan Kettering, Memorial Sloan Kettering. They didn't take my insurance. You have to get authorizations. You have to know special codes, and you got to be they said be your own advocate.
Oh God, you have to be like a tax attorney. It's so intricate, numbers, codes.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's hours on the phone trying to reach this person. And if you got somebody that doesn't have a caregiver or like mentally ill or whatnot, and they get diagnosed
out of luck,
they're out of luck. You're absolutely right.
Oh yeah. So where do you stand now? How many weeks since this all thing has started?
It's been, I got diagnosed on the 23rd. No, the 16th. So it's been 3 weeks or so since I've been diagnosed, almost going on a month now. So
oh God, it seems like so much longer.
I know
you've gone through a lot.
Yeah, I listen. I'm on the go. I'm a never stop guy.
Your legs are moving as we twitch it.
Exactly. I'm like fucking ready to go here. That's just how I am, and that's the mindset that. And look, it weighs on you heavily. Like still to this day, it's very, very agonizing. You imagine having to go to CT scans for the next 3 or 4, however many years to see if you had the cancer which you once had in your body. It's really, really scary. Cancer to a certain extent is a mental. And I went to Riverview Medical Center in Red Bank, and it's such a nice facility that overlooks the Navasink River. The last thing they did is they took me to the chemo room. They call it the infusion room. And it was the nicest room you could imagine getting chemo in, but I wanted to cry because it was so depressing seeing the people in there. And chemo is like you're killing your body. You're pumping your body with junk to fight cancer that's not there.
It's not as targeted. I heard it's more targeted these days. Cancer.
No, I think what they do is they pump you either IV. There's different ways they could administer it, but it fights your cells that split throughout the body. So that's why you lose your hair. That's why you lose your fingernails, because it goes throughout your whole body, whereas radiation is localized. And so chemo is just, and it kills your immune system. It just wipes you out. And I'm sure I would handle it okay, but it's a mental thing. I don't want to pump that. Listen, if I have to, I have to, but I'm not going to pump myself. with that
I
stuff.
heard there's something they can do with your hair now. Where they put something on your head that helps maintain your hair or something. I forget.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, there's something they try to get that and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone reacts differently, and you never get used to it. It only gets worse. We have a friend we're talking about. We're going to probably go
Yeah.
these in, and he said, "Oh, chemo, yeah, it killed his taste buds. It was hard to even eat." And everything else, and it's just bad. And he got a shot to keep his white blood cells up, and
Yeah.
that knocked him out for 3 days. He could hardly get up and walk.
It's horrible. And my chemo, like testicular cancer, as I mentioned earlier, it's not even like the top 15 cancer deaths. It's the third most benign cancer next to, I think, thyroid and I want to say bladder, but I'm not sure on the bladder, but definitely next to thyroid. And so it's not the same type of chemo as you give someone with lung cancer or breast cancer, but nonetheless, it's chemo. You're putting it in your body, and you know what, the secondary cancers that could be associated with this and all the other long-term side effects. To me, it's worth the surveillance. Even if it was 50% of it's coming back, there's a 50% chance you're cured. My one doctor saying there's a 90% chance I'm cured. Why not? I'm a young guy. I'm very, very physically active. I want to go back to my life, and I'm going to comply with the surveillance. I'm not going to not go. I'm not like a 22-year-old kid who wants to go hang
Blow it
on.
off.
Exactly. No, that's not me.
But are the dates already set up for the surveillance?
Yeah, I have to go in September, and it starts then. So,
and you should. That's not insurance has to cover that too.
yeah, and thankfully it gets authorized, and I get the CAT scan done at the same hospital, and everything's taken.
Oh, so you get ready. It's a CAT scan every time.
Yeah, well, for the time being, because testicular cancer has, if it's going to come back, it's most likely going to come back within the first 2 years. So that there's going to be more frequent testing within the first 2 years.
And if you get past 2 years, it goes down.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably won't even have me do the CT scan.
Well, before the show ends, this comes for our friend that we're talking about. A coworker of mine's had a relative's friend, friends who went to Lourdes, in France. And this is holy water they brought back. So
wow.
Yeah. So maybe you can sprinkle some on your nether regions, and maybe you can.
Yeah, please.
It can't hurt. It can't hurt.
I was cursing God. God's like, I heard.
Also, you believe in God. Yeah. What happened with the existential stuff? Do you believe in God? Like, we talk cursing God? Were you cursing? Were you valuing life? Were you damning life?
Were you
saying, I'm going to do a million things before, just in case I do, meet my maker? Like, we going to go spend money
no bucket list stuff. I was I was cursing. I was pissed. But why? Why the hell? What did I do? What's my karmic debt? These are natural things that people go through, but it's not efficient, because at the end of the day, and it's very hard as somebody that has anxiety, my mind goes a million miles an hour. But at the end of the day, all you can do, this is my advice to anybody that has any type of disease like this, is take what's coming to you. Take what's coming to you per day. Be in the moment. Don't catastrophize. Don't think 85% of what you worry about is not going to happen.
Yeah, that's common. If you can keep it and remember that.
Yeah. And it's hard. And once I got the pathology, I realized the scope of it. I felt a little better about it, but it was very, very hard to do that. Not to get angry, not to cry, not to go through the gambit of emotions. It's natural, but you get it through, get it out of your system. But don't go online. I gave myself every cancer. I gave myself pancreatic.
I'm sure.
Every cancer I had in my mind.
Every single variable that might happen.
Exactly.
I remember when I got tested for HIV, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to go into my, but I was women and everything.
Yeah.
And I was single a lot. And then when I said, maybe I should get tested, all of a sudden, oh my God. So every single incident passed from this year, that year, and everything. And then I did talk to a doctor beforehand. Well, when I went in, though, because I was in England at the time and it was free, and they thought that I was so freaking out. They thought really I must be lying about that. I must be either gay, and I was going to or the IV drug use there and everything. And when I finally told them the truth and they believed me, they go, we don't tell people this. And again, you still should take precaution. It's really hard for a healthy person to get HIV. There are like 3 strands of HIV at that time. One is more virulent, but even then, they told me it's like 1 in 100 chance. Not that they tell people. And like the doctor said, there's a light bulb, and there, and if you turned it on 1 out of 100 times, it would explode in your face. Would you play with it? Of course not. But that's how we described it. So then I calmed down a little bit. Of course, I had no symptoms. So what you suffered from? I don't know you had. What's this anxiety thing? What is that? Nature, nurture, both? What is it?
It's nature, man. I mean, it's just the
Your
way
family
I was an ADD kid, an ADHD kid. All that stuff. Sometimes I can't keep myself still. It's just the way I am, it's just I've always been like that. But when you actually have cancer, when you actually have something wrong with you, it goes into overdrive. That's why, like if you have to go through chemo, or you have to go through one of those things, they will prescribe you. They didn't for me, but they will prescribe you anxiety medication.
Right. Maybe just to take the edge off
Sure,
or something.
absolutely.
You can focus, like what, Valium, or what do they give you?
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
any? You can give some to me. I'm just
Yeah.
no, but
That's a show we should do one day.
Oh,
The
Valium?
War on Drugs.
Oh God,
Let's do a show. I have a lot of opinions about that.
Oh, I do too. Yeah,
It's a fucking failure.
Yeah, I remember my brother was so ahead of his time. He told me like 20 years ago. I guess sometimes you don't think deep. It's like drugs bad. You stop drugs. But then when you actually explain the variables, how it corrupts our police. First of all, we're the people who get it. We're the people who actually,
yes,
which is not going to stop. But then it's so much money in it. Everyone got corrupted. The black community suffered big time because you had politicians who wanted to make their careers on law and order, and who gets snapped up there. Black community, poor people, more, they don't get good lawyers.
Yeah,
it's a whole failure. I mean, nothing. Yeah, and some of it was just puritanical too. Like, these kids got to learn. You throw them in jail, 3 strikes, and that didn't work. Anyway, go back to the cancer.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and that's so there's a whole lot of stuff here. But like I said, I'm working with this organization now, the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation. The CEO, Kim Jones, has such a heartbreaking story. She lost her son testicular cancer. He was 22 years old. He was diagnosed when he was a teenager. He had over 100 tumors in his body.
Oh my God! He just had genetically
insane,
a genetic bad luck there.
I don't know what it was. It's like they didn't notice it. He was an athlete, and they didn't notice it. And one day he had a lump on his neck, and he went into remission for 7 years. And then he had another explosion when he was 22 and he died. And it's such a heartbreaking
Get more in the picture though, a little bit. Sorry. I hope it doesn't come up in the picture. Like, is he really going to the other side? Because it gets blurry, or maybe it's just that. Yeah. So I'm wondering, how did the doctor handle this? Because they see this all the time. Did they give you advice about mental, physical, what to do? When you first heard about it, did they sit you down and give you a little counseling?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really good urologist, but he was, and I hate to say this, but he was from, I don't know if he was Syrian or Egyptian, nice guy, but his mannerisms are weird. He just looks like I know, like there were some times where it was like he was hot and cold.
In what way? He was clinical sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. He was clinical. He was almost, when I had my orchiectomy, I saw him come in the operating room and he was like this. And then he had some hot assistant with him. And I'm thinking, did they just maybe get into an argument? Because he looked at me and was like,
that is so weird.
And then
was it just a facial expression?
It could have been, but
some people have weird ticks and facial.
And some people on the day of surgery, some doctors get
maybe he was tense.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
But then,
did you ask him, like, is something wrong?
No, I was scared shitless.
Okay.
I'm like, did he look at my chart and say, this motherfucker's dying? You're dying.
Right.
I didn't have a chance.
So give me the face. What did it look like?
He was like, he nodded at me all awkwardly, and it was just like weird. But again, he was really good. And then, when I visited him to get the results of the CT scan, they put me in this room where there's all these like different like machines. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to examine the cancer. So my mind is just, this is how your mind plays tricks on you. And he was good. And then he called me and he was like the most ecstatic because my blood work came back. He's like, your tumor markers are really, really down. That they're going. This is great news. He was like really happy. So but to your point, the way when you're a cancer patient, everything matters. Your senses are heightened. So the way things say people, the way people say people, the way people look. In my mind, I'm like, oh my God, so that's very, very important.
Goes up.
Yeah. And then when I visited my urologist this week, him and I had like a 40-minute conversation. He was like, as soon as you walked in the office, I was at ease. And it's just bedside manner. Some doctors just just are better at like making you feel at ease. Right. Not that my urologist didn't, but inadvertently he didn't a couple times. And it was scary.
Right. And his assistant was hot though?
Yeah, you know what? There's probably something going on there. I know what goes on at these freaking places.
Oh, what goes on? I don't. In hospitals?
Hospitals, workplaces, gyms.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Well, I mean, look, I don't, but I know several places that I go to you wouldn't believe who's screwing around who, or you would if you go there. You know what I mean? But that's just the culture. No, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the culture.
Well, people work together. They see each other all the time. I
Yeah.
guess, and stuff too. So anyway, now you're, how many weeks you said? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And now you're driving, you're working, you're whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And you want to fight again. And
Yeah.
what did the doctor say about like, so you don't want low blows though to your groin area.
No, I'm cleared 6 weeks after my orchiectomy. That'll be sometime at the end of this month. Cleared for boxing. My doctor was very enthusiastic about me boxing. He must have been either a boxer or a fan of the sport himself. And this is masters. It's not like I'm professional. I'm an amateur.
But it's still
no, you're right.
Rigorous and
you know what? And boxing and punching doesn't cause cancer, but I do feel it's somewhat related to my story because I got hit on that testicle before. I got hit in that left testicle.
Don't you have a cup?
Yeah.
But still,
it killed. Yeah, it was. And I remember saying to myself, I swear to God, I remember saying to myself, I'm going to lose that. The pain was so intense and the blow was so tremendous. I remember saying to myself, I'm going to lose that.
What kind of blow? Was it a kick or a punch?
No, punch, just boxing, punching.
But it was by mistake?
Yeah, totally. And my cup I have one of those big boxer's cups and it did not work. And I didn't feel at the time of sparring. I felt it afterwards for months. And my sister said that's a blessing because maybe you had cancer in that testicle and it brought it up to the surface. My sister had the same thing.
That can happen. A blow can bring cancer to
a
tumor or something?
Anecdotally, there's been stories of people that have gotten injuries and then they're playing with their child, usually younger guys, athletic guys like me. And somebody knees them in the balls, and then they feel it, and then they discover they have cancer. My sister, she fell in a bowling alley, and then they discovered she had a brain tumor.
Right.
But there's no evidence that says that getting punched is going to activate cancer cells. I haven't seen any.
But in a way, it was a little miracle that these things happen, so you find it out faster and everything.
Yeah, because potentially, if I didn't have that big of a mass on my testicle, I could have still had it because I don't even know even as a testicular cancer survivor, I don't know what a small lump would feel like. Your testicle is kind of weird to feel, but this mass that I had, it was obvious. It was not like you couldn't miss it. Stevie Wonder could feel it, but he could see it.
Just your hand, yeah.
But maybe it didn't, and maybe it would have progressed over time, and maybe then it would advance. Who knows?
Do you think you can use it into your advantage, like to go to an opponent, like, I just had cancer.
Hey man,
get in their head.
Yeah, maybe they'll take it easy on
So hold on, when you do these, you're an amateur, but they're real bouts, though.
They're real fights. They're regulated, all that stuff. Yeah,
and you have to sign your life away before you get in the ring.
Probably, yeah. I'm sure you.
Yeah. I thought you. When was the last time you fought?
In May in Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, boxing it's a hobby. It's a way. Some guys like to do CrossFit. Other guys like to do marathons. I like to box. I like to box guys that are my age or my weight, my size relative, and it's a really, really good thing to do. A lot of people, my family, my immediate family, they don't agree with it. My sister, because they're looking out for me, but I'm in a different stage in my life. I'm in the physical fitness, push yourself till I die. That's how I'm going to live the rest
it's good
of my
for
life.
your brain too, right?
I think so.
You like it. Exercise is good for the brain, and
it's not like I'm getting repeated blows to the brain. They're shortened rounds. It's not like I'm 9-10 rounds.
And you wear
the headgear. It's safe. I mean, you can get knocked out. Okay, I see plenty of people get knocked out, but it's not like I'm going to die or I'm going to be in a coma or, it's not like
maybe you fight with other people who have cancer. You can do it.
I would love to have a cancer card. Right. I'm sure it can be done.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people who get some form of cancer.
You see like boxing events between, NYPD and FYNP, all that stuff, the firefighters, and I would gladly fight it. But every fight that I do now, I'm going to be raising funds or trying to raise awareness with this organization. I already have a page set up, so you can go to, like I said, twitter.com/Bob Carson MMA or Facebook as well.
Again, the glare. What's that say? Record? Oh, it's still recording. And say how many minutes are left. Now I'm here. Yeah. What happens is, I guess when I have
this has always happened or no?
No. I guess because usually I'm closer, and that's because I put the fade, whatever, the blurry thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I kind of psychedelic. Are you scared when you fight? The only reason I ask that, now that you've gotten something that's so scary, are other things less scary, or do you value things a little more? Or are you going through this period like even more in the moment and value life and take it as it comes? Or
I'm trying to go back to where I was. I'm trying to still work on my mindset and go back to where I was like still listening to podcasts, meditating, mental stillness. And it's a little bit harder. I'm a little bit more on edge now because I have
Oh man, it's so recent.
exactly. And so, I'm trying to, but yeah, I'm still the same happy guy I was, still content with what I have and going forward and doing the same things. And my life really hasn't changed, which is all I can ask for. Thank you, God, because I'm still able to live my life because of your will and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't see your God-fearing man. I didn't know that.
Well, I like to believe in some spiritual power. I don't know whether that's I feel that, but I can't prove it. But I'm a scientific guy. But that's why I don't full throttle go into faith. I don't join a congregation or all that stuff. But I do like to think that there's
What
something.
about your Marxism theory? Without a religious
That
period?
was years ago. I've grown
That's
up.
what I met you. That's what I know.
Yeah, I was
I
a
met you.
radical.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
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 Played Death of the Machine. I remember I went at Rider University when you had your radio show
Yeah.
and you played Death of the Machine. But
Yeah.
I always thought that, I mean, there's always points that you can take that are verbatim, but they're too ideological and totalitarian in their thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Workers' World Party. I used to commingle with them, and I didn't fit in with them. It's not like I still have some gripes against the system, but I'm more as I get older, I'm more
But
independent.
you have perspective, though.
Exactly.
You told me they were so stuck ideologically and totalitarianly driven. You mean they believed everything. This was evil, that's evil,
Yeah.
and no black or white, no anything. Everything was black and white.
The demonization and all that stuff.
What would they say about cancer, like the corporate capitalist system?
They would say that it was caused by capitalism.
Right.
They would say that we have a cure, but because of the profit motive warps all aspects of our society.
Right. I mean, and there's some truth in that our capitalist, when you make things for profit, you can get some really screwed up things. But yeah, just say there's some plan up there and the cure has been hidden and everything and right. And modern medicine, also what saved you. In a way, capital, doctors and research, people donating to research, hedge funds donating to research, and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you look at all the different tests and all the different things, and you drill down to funding, businesses, all that stuff, it all kind of comes together. You know what I mean? So like I said, our healthcare system, the technology, the doctors that I saw, the hospitals I went to, I don't want to get testicular cancer in Cuba. I don't want to get testicular, despite what the communists say about the better health outcomes. I don't want to get it in Russia.
No.
I got it here.
You got to bribe people. Oh yeah.
The insurance thing, that's the whole end of their banks. They are just my insurance companies, but still that was the biggest problem.
Yeah, Dr. Churko, the World Wide Web knows him, but he's a local doctor. I've had other doctors, and they just say, and these aren't conspiracy theorists. They go, insurance companies are just evil. They've gotten evil, and they play games.
Well, what's the alternative if I didn't have insurance? Okay. And let's
county
say
hospital, where would you?
And what happens if I'm sure there's a backlog?
Yeah.
And so that would say, okay, you have to die because you can't pay. That's not right. I mean, that from a moral standpoint, that's not right. Which is why I don't know if there's laws on the book. Murphy, say what you want, but Murphy would probably sign a law.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. That's the thing. You talk to European people more that I meet more, but they go, America's a weird place. You can die there. They see it's the Wild West. If you're in the wrong situation, you don't have insurance and this, you can die.
Yeah.
There's no safety net.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen, and the insurance companies have to deny treatment, and then you can file an appeal, and then it's like, all right. And then what if you have to go across country? As I mentioned, testicular cancer to a certain extent is a regional disease. So, if you have to get something like a stem cell replacement or something like that, you have to go across. It's you could be sentenced to death by the insurance companies.
So we're not going any place right now. You're in New Jersey because you have to follow up surveillance.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about work? Can we discuss work? Which work? Or not discuss work?
Well, I'm self-employed. I'm doing some life coaching, and I'm doing some delivery work.
I need life coaching.
No, you don't, man. Well, we could coach each other, man.
Okay.
This is a nice house to do coaching in, man. I tell you, I could fall asleep in this house.
Well, thank my parents. Look at shouldn't it say 5 minutes? We've been on for I think 40 minutes before.
You should hear it.
We should start getting a countdown. Not that I want to stop, but I just wonder.
Yeah, I usually hear it on my. You have,
no, it's the same thing. Oh, I didn't know you're a life coach. So is this gonna make you a better life coach?
Probably
Why
it'll make me a
not?
little bit more impatient. Now,
So who have you life coached before?
I have somebody that's right now in the hospital. He's severely mentally ill. He has severe bipolar. And he's a good kid.
I keep on thinking when you say bipolar, talk about gay bears, but anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, but how can you life coach someone who's bipolar if they can't even focus? Wait, how does that work?
Well, I mean, it's just trying to help him out. I mean, I kind of went from a life coach to being like a chauffeur, like to pick him up and to drive him here and there. And now he's in rehab in California for something, and he's living out there, so I don't even see him anymore. But parents are very nice, and he's got several charges over his head, attacking the police and
Because it's bipolar.
yeah,
That's where a health crisis sucks too. A lot of these things, the police have to deal with it. These people, if they've been interdicted, we wouldn't have all this mess.
And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that if you have somebody that's incapacitated and they have to come up against something like this, if he didn't have his mother, I don't know where he would be.
Yeah, he might be in jail.
He'd be a ward of the state.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for the cops. They have to deal with this, and the prisons have to deal with
Yeah.
it. And there's no helping. There's nothing. You get worse in prison. Even if you're not mentally ill, you get worse in prison usually.
That's
So if you're bipolar, yeah, and then you get killed, and you get charges you can't get rid of, and then you're felony assaults and everything. So but sex? What about sex?
I still have ejaculatory function.
But you were an incel. You said you were getting away from sex. You wanted to focus just on other stuff.
You know, I lost my. I mean, my testosterone level's fine, but I look at it as like a blessing. My sex drive has gone down probably for the last 3 or 4 years.
Really?
And I like it because
it could be mental. No, have you
oh yeah, probably mental. I mean, I can't. I mean,
and you work really hard. You work a lot,
and I'm in the zone. I'm just working out all the time. You know what I mean?
That could lower it. Maybe you're exhausted. You're tired.
Could be. I mean, but I have hyperthyroidism.
Oh.
And my thyroid levels are you know, up and down. So there are some times where I could work for 14, 15 hours, and other times where it's like, depending upon my thyroid levels, that affects it too, I think.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
you take medicine for that though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Does that interact badly with any?
Nothing. No, thank God, you know, but I just have to keep on monitoring that because I have to adjust that based on my thyroid levels. And the only way I could do that is with a blood test. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
well, let's start, even though it hasn't gone like 40 minutes, and it should stop.
We started at 3:15, right?
Right. And it's 40. They give you 45 minutes or 40 minutes usually.
I think it's 4, but you go over. I think it's around 45.
Okay. Well, we're 3 minutes. We're going to start wrapping up anyway. We've got about 3 minutes. Well, this has been, I hope people can learn from this. We have to promote this podcast and stuff. Do you have an email list, or do I have to hit you? I'll kick you in the balls if you don't.
Oh no. Yeah.
So how do you
Actually, I do have an email list.
Yeah, so
Back from my old political show.
Then you got to use.
I guarantee you, probably half of the emails are not valid. But,
Okay,
but I'll send them out. Yeah.
I mean, we're happy if we get 200 hits.
Yeah.
But maybe this one, it's important. You know, I know that you said there's plenty of information, but just another voice sharing a first person story that just happened and stuff.
Yes.
And look at this young man.
And you can reach out to me too.
Oh, you want to give your email?
Yeah, you can reach if you do have testicular. I can give you a lot of advice as far as and what to look for, like the staging of this. If you have high, I mean, there's so much stuff that I went through that I may be able to help you, may be able to provide you some good resources. So, you know, look me up on Facebook or Twitter, twitter.com/Bob Carson MMA, Instagram.com/Bob Carson MMA. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to tell you, you know, what I went through and to what to look for as far as your diagnosis, and if you have non-seminoma, seminoma, you can't tell obviously, but there are certain signs within the blood work that could tell you that I had no idea about, that could make it a little bit easier for you, a little bit better to be able to prepare for the CAT, all that stuff. So scheduling the CAT scan, all that stuff.
And Breathing with Bierman on Facebook, YouTube channel, and everything else will be on and everything. And I want to share that and like spread the news. We don't want to spread cancer. We want to spread good news and ways to prevent cancer and what happens when you get cancer. And I talk funny. I look tired too.
You look great, man. You look really good. And I'll tell you, the next time we come here on Wicked Politics, we will be talking about politics. We will be talking.
Maybe we'll do the war on drugs.
Yes.
Okay.
That's something we could talk about for hours. Yes.
Okay. Well, this has been Adam Bierman
and Bob Carson.
And goodbye. Stop recording. That's the wrong thing.